Duolingo is the most successful language learning app in history. 500 million plus downloads, 115 million active users, viral ad campaigns. It's a global phenomenon, and it's the best way to start learning a new language. Or at least it was. Because this year, a new app has come out that has all the best elements of Duolingo, but a much more effective teaching style. It's more practical, more informative, and most importantly, more fun. And that app is Airlearn. And yes, I am making this video in partnership with Airlearn, but before you start saying, this is all garbage, I don't know what I'm talking about, I dare you to actually watch this whole video, because I'm going to compare these two apps side by side so you can see for yourself which one is the better platform. So let's get into it. And I want to start by asking a very important question. What is the problem with Duolingo? Because it definitely has one, and I am far from the only person to be talking about this. There are a million takes, but it really boils down to this. Duolingo was released in 2012, and since that time, its learning system has not changed. Bells and whistles aside, it's the same platform it was 13 years ago. What has changed is what I would call the absurd level of gamification that Duolingo now has. And make no mistake, that is all in service of one thing, and it's not to help you learn a new language. It's to get you to spend money to become a super Duolingo user or even a max user. Look, say what you will about their pedagogy, but Duolingo has mastered the art of getting people hooked, and this is how they do it. Now, I don't have a problem with gamified learning. In fact, I think it can be helpful. But since 2021, when Duolingo became a publicly held company, I think they have gone way overboard with the aim of squeezing out every possible drop of profit. So they keep tacking on game features without innovating where it counts, actual learning. Don't believe me? Let's do a comparison. Duolingo, the old model, versus Airlearn, a new model. And let's say you want to learn Hindi from scratch. Well, here's where Duolingo starts, the alphabet. And then more of the alphabet and more of the alphabet. And there's no context, you're learning each letter individually through rote memorization. What does that remind me of? Oh yeah, a textbook. Yes, for all the whiz-bang, Duolingo's approach to learning is actually very traditional, and like a textbook, it's not particularly engaging or memorable. So what do? Tack on gamification. Now let's look at the alternative, Airlearn. From the very beginning of the course, you're building practical understanding. How to say hello, how to introduce yourself, how to talk about where you're from and what you do, the kinds of things that make it possible for you to actually talk to real people. And will you learn the Devanagari alphabet with Airlearn? Yes, of course, but it's taught in pieces intuitively so that you actually remember it. But hold on, let's take a closer look at what's going on here, because there's something very important that you might not notice. And let's switch to a new language this time. How about Spanish? And again, we'll consider both apps side by side. Okay, so we're learning vocabulary, right? And what's the key difference here? Well, in Duolingo, we're matching a word in Spanish with one in English every time. In other words, you're learning to translate in your head. But what about Airlearn? We're connecting Spanish words to images, the way a child learns a language. Of course, there's translation as well, but you're not always tied to English. From the very beginning, you're learning to actually think in a new language, which I hope you'll agree is a much more effective method. But Brian, what about grammar? Okay, so maybe that wasn't your next question, but it should be, because the way a platform teaches things like grammar, context, and usage is what sets you up for long-term success. And if you don't get the basics down, fluency will just never be in the cards. So let's do another comparison, Duolingo versus Airlearn. And this time we'll try French. And for both apps, we'll look at the chapter on greeting people. And what do you notice? Duolingo gives no context, no background, and zero grammar explanations. It's nothing but hunt and peck for the right word over and over again. Oh yeah, and we're not actually learning how to greet people. Now let's look at Airlearn. First of all, the actual content is far more useful. And it's not just the same tired pecking mechanic over and over again. There's variety. And within that, you're not just learning words and phrases, you're also learning key points about usage and grammar. And if you're new to a language, that's hugely important. But wait. Let's forget all this pedagogical stuff for a minute and just see what it's like to actually use these apps. The experience, if you will. I'm going to put Duolingo and Airlearn on on screen at the same time and let them run for 7 seconds. And all you need to do is look at the screen, and then I'm going to ask you a question. Now be honest, which app felt easier to look at, more comfortable? Because it takes upwards of 1,000 hours to become fluent in a new language, so you're going to be looking at that screen a lot. I know what my answer is. What's yours? But maybe you're thinking, Brian, I've already invested so much time in Duolingo. I've got a 3-year streak and all these gems, and I'm number 33 in the Silver League. How can I give all that up? Well, first of all, you don't have to. Airlearn has streaks, it has leagues, it has EXP, which is just like gems. It's definitely gamified. It's just not ridiculous. And look, if you're really deep into Duolingo for a specific language, you don't need another app. You need to get out there and start talking to people. But if you're new to a language, or if you're looking to dabble a bit, don't worry, Airlearn has plenty of nifty tricks to keep you motivated. Now, as you might know, if you're a free Duolingo user, you get battered constantly with ads. It's very annoying. Airlearn, on the other hand, has no ads whatsoever. 0. If you want to use free mode, you get to do a set number of lessons every day. And you can use premium mode for 2 weeks absolutely free. If you're interested, I'll put a link below. Use it, see what you think. Now, Duolingo does have the upper hand in one department, and that is the number of languages offered. Right now, Airlearn has Spanish, French, German, Japanese, Korean, Hindi, Italian, Chinese, Portuguese, and Dutch. If you want to learn something else, you're out of luck. For now, they're adding more languages soon, so stay tuned. So I hope that by this point, you feel like you have the knowledge to choose for yourself which of these apps is going to serve you best. As I said at the start of this video, Duolingo is a global juggernaut, and it's almost hard to imagine that any app could challenge its dominance. But if you can dare to have an open mind on the subject, I think you'll find that Airlearn is, at the very least, worth your consideration. You might even find that it has all the makings of a genuine Duolingo killer.